Oh my gosh, you guys. The last 24 hours has completely put Christmas and our winter plans in jeopardy.
Have you heard of this thing called Omicron? I'm sure everyone is probably really sick of hearing about it by now. But yeah, it's kind of messing with our possible plans.
Yeah, so what happened is yesterday, Prime Minister Trudeau announced that they do not recommend international travel for Canadians, which we're interpreting as code as we may or may not close the borders again.
It's a possibility. So our plan was to go to the States, check it out, see, and you've probably seen those videos. We went to the States not too long ago, and it went really well.
Yep, that was our test run.
And we're back, and our plan was to spend a beautiful Christmas here, you know, in front of the fire with Christmas presents, Christmas tree.
And friends.
Have friends over.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure, as with a lot of you, you're rethinking your Christmas plans and having to replan and reschedule.
Pivot, you may say.
Pivot. We may need to pivot. We were thinking of leaving January 1st.
Once we started hearing the chatter about the Omicron variant and new restrictions because of it, we're getting a little anxious.
Yeah, so we bumped it up to like the 27th.
Yeah.
We're like, right after Boxing Day, boom, we're out of here. No problem.
If you happen to be American and don't know what Boxing Day is, it's the day after Christmas.
Yeah. But now we're thinking we may actually want to go a little bit sooner than that.
Yeah.
We just don't know how much warning we're going to have if they close the borders.
And that's a big if. They may or they may not. We don't know. The various government parties have almost all, told all of their candidates don't travel internationally.
I think there's a lot of mixed messages.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of confusion and just a lack of knowledge right now on what Omicron is and how bad it's really going to be.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So I think we're preparing for the worst, but also hoping for the best. So what do we do then? I mean, if we decide to stay for Christmas and leave on the 27th, we're taking the risk that they close the borders, and they might close them quickly, right? We may or may not have, 24 hours of notice. Who knows, right?
And if we get stranded here, trapped here, I don't know quite what the right word is, but if we end up here in BC again for the winter, we might have to make the decision that that's the end of our channel until further notice.
Yeah, exactly. We would probably just shut down the channel because, I think near the beginning of the pandemic, it was cute to do, stay-at-home travel and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But now everyone's kind of over that, I think.
It's getting old, and we've been pretty much everywhere that we can go right now in the winter.
Yeah.
And because of recent flooding, we're even more limited on where we could go around here in the winter. So there wouldn't be any content for us to really be able to share with you unless you want to watch us like sitting on the couch all day.
Which maybe that's a channel idea. I don't know.
Anyways.
People watch fireplaces.
Yeah.
We could literally just set it up in front of our fireplace and have one of those types of channels.
There you go. However, if we do manage to get across the border, and fingers crossed that we do, then we will have tons of new content for you and be able to continue our channel.
And really, this was our plan 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We actually talked around Christmas time about what we were going to do. And a big part of it was in January, February, March, we wanted to be somewhere warm and explore new places. And yeah, if they shut down the border again, we're not going anywhere.
Oh, the roller coaster of this pandemic. We need to be safe and we want to keep others safe, but at the same time, we want to keep living our life, and our life involves travel.
Well, and even now we're having to make a choice as to whether we have our nice Christmas at home like we planned with all the lights, all the decorations, and I mean, you just love having that, right?
Yeah.
So already we're having to decide, do we give that up so we make sure that we can have our January trip, right? And that makes you really upset, and it makes me really anxious because I'm, constantly on Facebook, reading, trying to get the pulse of what's going on, looking at news. We're like watching news, listening to news, reading news.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going to happen next? So the uncertainty is the part of it that just makes you really, really anxious, just not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But everyone is in that boat. We understand.
Yeah.
Everyone is in the same boat. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows how severe this new Omicron thing is going to be. We still have no idea. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's frustrating having plans and making plans only to suddenly have to change them at the blink of an eye.
So many people have already had to cancel their plans just because of this advisory. One thing you have to look at is your health insurance, your travel health insurance. And in some cases, people's policies are now void or at least exclude COVID now that there's an advisory. Mm-hmm. Now, we checked ours, and just an advisory against non-essential travel, we're still covered completely for COVID and everything.
Yeah.
However, if they raise it up to the next level where they advise against all travel, then the policy will no longer cover any COVID-related expense.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. If you're considering travel around Christmas, internationally, double check your policy and make sure what it covers and what it doesn't at various different advisory levels.
Mm-hmm. So that's our story.
Yeah, so we haven't made a decision yet. We're still watching very closely, listening very closely, and deciding when we're going to plan to leave.
We'd love to hear your input, and let us know if you are experiencing similar things or if you have had to change things at the last minute, maybe before. We'd love to hear from you how you handled those situations.
And in the meantime, have a wonderful, happy holiday season. No matter how you end up celebrating it and who you're able to celebrate it with, have a great one, and we'll see you in the next one. Once we started hearing about kind of caseloads, not caseloads. Yeah.
We'd love to hear your input.
Sorry.
It's okay. Make sure you don't miss the next video by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.